She asked why I am to make sure I'm right. That's it. That's it. And she looked at you like, I'm funnier. Go look me up and you'll see. session at 6:08. Good evening. Just in case. This is that September 12th meeting. That's there. Everyone hear me okay? Hi. Let's say that there was no action taken in closed session. 57.1. Right into the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Nick.
Please.
Since this is our organizational meeting, move right into the nomination. Appointment of the president, board of trustees. Motion. Wilson made the motion,
Second,
Keeping made the second.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Wayne for president, Ms. Tarleson for vice president. Mr. Wayne for president.
The nominees. Right, you can vote. Right. Right. Or consider the nomination and appoint a vice president for the
So moved.
by Mr. T. Right.
I'd like to make a motion for Ms. Tarleson for vice president.
Second that. Motion. And vote.
Aye.
Oh. And the final one is a consideration for nominations for the clerk. Motion.
Sure.
By Mr. Olson,
Second. Nominate Rosemary Mann for clerk.
second that. Take a vote, all the ayes.
Aye.
4-0. Thank you. And for the approval, Superintendent Dr. Marietti serve as secretary of the Board of Trustees. So, no objection to that. Is 4-0. Chief officer is a pastor. Not here to, recognizing them. I don't. Oh. I'd like to thank him for all his work here in the past year. Got not big feet, but he's got good sized shoes to fill. Fact is, he holds a record. No, I'm not gonna try to beat him, but just in case you're thinking about it. what the bets are on. So then now we'll move into the regular time and meeting days for the board of trustees. Motion? By Ms. Mann. Time?
Yeah, we're gonna be following pretty much the same.
There will be a schedule going on. Website. That. Favor?
Aye.
On the regular time meetings, Rosemary. Was designated representative to AXTA, which is the LA County School District Association, States Association. One second. Designee sat on the board AXTA in the past, and you. That's okay with the board. All in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
4-0. To serve as a representative from the Lancaster School District Executive Board, the Antelope Valley School Board.
So moved.
Also, and again, I serve on the historian for the Antelope Valley School Board Association. So without action, I'll continue on that. And Keith too. He's on the board too.
But you're on.
Yeah. So
Just one.
but it really doesn't matter. It's let's keep, yeah, let's keep the.
Make a motion for Keith Giles. Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Please. Okay. 0. Check. We have to designate Dr. Larry Freeze as a representative for the school transportation agency. And designate.
I'd like to make a motion to have Rosemary Mann as alternative.
To serve on the board, of the Antelope Valley Schools Transportation Agency.
Aye.
And a second. Starlson. All right. Right. 0. Like to designate Charles Coleman. Sir. Have a motion? Ma'am. Without any objections? Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's 4-0.
Sounds like attorneys Coleman and Coleman.
Next, is the appointment of Mary Ellen Butterworth, Administrative Secretary 3, Services. The appropriate officer provides the destruction. Second by Ms. Stout, the objection. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes 4-0. Aye. The final one would be the adoption of resolution 2023-24 on 15. Certification of authorized signature. By Ms. Stone. In favor?
Aye.
4-0. Like to go on about the
As of today, in our UTK through 8th grade classes, we have 13,999 students. In ECE, we have 424, for a total of 14,423 students. This is a gain of 20 from our last board report, a loss of 41 from the same time last year. Currently, we have 810 homeless students and 428 foster students.
Asia. First, in the budget report. Isabel?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present to you the 23-24 first interim report. So in our first interim report assumptions, when we built the budget and enacted budget, COLA was published for the fiscal year 23-24 at 8.22, and then the two subsequent years were projected at 3.94 and 3.29. Now we heard from School Services of California and from CDE, from the Los Angeles County of Education, best practice was to budget for the two subsequent years with a COLA of 1%. Therefore, our first interim has been budgeted the current year at 8.22 and the two subsequent years at 1% COLA, cost of living. Then we have the changes on the STIRS and PERS. As we mentioned before, the STIRS have plateaued at 19.10%, and the PERS are presenting an increase on the current fiscal year at 1.3% increase from the prior year, and is projecting to be increasing in the subsequent years. We will learn new rates until the budget is enacted. We will go to the presentation in January and then in May, and then not until July is enacted. So our state revenues sources, everything is in millions. And I wanted to separate the ongoing revenues from the one-time revenues. So the ongoing revenues for the state are $221.28 million. Here is our biggest bucket of revenues, because this is where the LCFF, local control funding formula, where contains the base, the supplemental concentration, the taxes, the educational protection plan, and the equity multiplier. And then we have the one-time funds for the state revenue, and it's 18.11 million. So our total state revenues for this fiscal year are projected to be $239.39 million. Then we'll go to the federal revenue sources, and you'll see a big change in this slide. Because we're used to receive the one-time funds, the ESSER one-time funds in prior years. Now that's sunsetting, so we're not going to receive those funds anymore. We're actually liquidating. So our ongoing federal revenues are $15.31 million. And then we have the one-time funds received, which is $8.8 million. Total federal revenues are $24.19. All revenues sources, which are the state revenues, the federal revenues, and the local revenues, please take into account that the local revenues are the SELPA revenues, which is special ed. We have a total district revenues for 23-24 in the amount of $278.01 million. Now we're going to talk about expenditures. The unrestricted expenditures everything is in millions. I wanted to do a graph so you can see how much we're spending in salaries and how much we're spending in services. So out of unrestricted bucket, certificated salaries have $64.08 million. Classified salaries are $22.10 million. Benefits are $37.22 million. Supplies, $12 million. Services, 23, and then the rest. So we have total unrestricted expenditures of $160.65 million. This is budgeted, not liquidated yet. Now we have the restricted expenditures for this fiscal year budgeted at $116 million, 0.61, which is certificated salaries, 23.11, classified salaries, 18.65, benefits, 19.37, supplies, 18.93, services, 25.58, and then the rest. Now, I will want to point the supplies and services and the restricted. We're liquidating, we're finalizing all the one-time money. That's why it's 18% and 25% out of the revenues. All expenditures in millions for this fiscal year budgeted, total unrestricted, 160.65, total restricted, 116.61. So all 23-24 district budgeted expenditures are $277.26 million. Now this is the multi-projection. As we know, we project the current year and the 2 subsequent years. So we start from the beginning. Our revenues this fiscal year are $278.01. I went over with you on the prior slides. And then we have the salaries and benefits for this fiscal year, $184.57, and all other expenditures, which are services, supplies, $92.69 million. So total expenditures for the district budgeted for this fiscal year are $277.26 million. Now I would like to go over with the fund balances. So the beginning fund balance, it's 156.20. This is all restricted and unrestricted. Then we have a net decrease of 0.75, which is $750,000. That's a result of the revenues minus the expenditures received this fiscal year. Therefore, our ending fund balance for this fiscal year as of the first interim is $156.95 million. Out of that ending fund balance, we have the components. The components of the ending fund balance are the restricted, $83.77 million, which are really have very restricted allowable expenditures are designated for each program and for each resource. And then we have assignments for textbook adoptions, for early literacy support, STIRS and PERS, technology replacement, 1 month salaries and benefits, UTK facilities, and future playground replacements. Our reserve after the restricted ending fund balance and the assignments that board approved, we went with $47.196 million. Our reserve for economic uncertainties on the first year is 17.02%. We are required by the state, due to our ADA to have at least 3% on reserve, which is $8.32 million. So we're well above of the reserve of the first fiscal year. Then we go to the second fiscal year where our ending fund balance for the first year becomes our beginning fund balance. And we have revenues of 267.85. And then I have to budget, I have to lower our expenditures because of COLA. So our expenditures the first year is 265.88. Therefore, we have a net increase of $1.97 million. So our ending fund balance on the middle year is 158.90. And then we have the restricted ending fund balance, all the assignments, and we end with $39.81 million. That's 14.98% in reserve available. We have to have at least 3%, which is $7.98 million. After that, we will have $31.84 million. Now, on the third year out, our revenues also are subject to the 1% COLA, as well as the expenditures. So our revenues on the third year out is $272.55 million. Our salaries and benefits are $195.78. I would like to point something very important. The increase on the salaries are only the step-in column. Negotiations is ongoing. It's not reflected on the first interim yet. Then we have all other expenditures of $78.91 million. So our total expenditures on the third year out are projected to be $274.69 million. We have a decrease on the ending fund balance by $2.14 million. So our ending fund balance is projected to be $156.78. After we take the restricted and all the assignments, we will end with $34.45 million, which leaves us on the third year out of a reserve of 12.54%. We're only required to have $8.24 million, which is a 3%. The multi-year projection, it's reflecting the 23-24 fiscal year COLA, as I went over with you, at 8.22 the first year, and then the two subsequent years at 1%. That's best practices in budgeting right now. The one-time restricted revenues included carryover are all budgeted expenditures and revenues. The ADA is not updated until the certification of the P2, which will happen until February. And then we're liquidating one-time federal funds. They're all sunsetting on September 30th, 2024. And we go all the way down to the step-in column increase are budgeted, negotiations are ongoing. We created a fiscal stabilization plan that you guys are approving. It's a requirement. Any questions?
Question. Year projections. On the STRS and PERS future contributions. Is that the total amount paid to STRS and PERS each year?
That is a reserve. It's an assignment that we have extra. It's unfunded liability. If we don't spend it on 1 year, then we budget it for the next year. It's in case that we need to use those funds. It's for liability.
It's an increase.
Where's the regular STRS and PERS payment? Where's that at in here?
The regular rate for the STRS and PERS? Yes, of course. Right here. So the STRS are 19.10%. It's at the beginning of the presentation, but the PERS are going up by 1.30%. It's the third, I believe it's the third slide.
So how much was the total amount? What was that?
That will take a calculation, and I will give you the numbers because it has to be projected and it has to be. I do have it, but it is in the book. I can point it at you if you want me to right now, or we can have a meeting. But it's a calculation based on every single person that has qualifies for STIRS or PERS.
And Maria, I believe the STIRS and PERS amounts, are they not part of the 3,000s? So in the first interim report, it shows 1,000s, 2,000s, 3,000s, and you can see, but that also rolls in benefits. You dig deeper into the book, you can actually see the line item for the amount we anticipate in contributing to both STIRS and PERS for this fiscal year.
Great. About the ADA budgeting,
Yes,
we anticipate our ADA amounts to stay about the same in the years coming ahead, or is that going to change right now?
well, it's best practices to budget at what we have in P2. And then LACO has a program where we upload our ADA right now, and it increased by 2%, 1%. It's done by LACO to be conservative. But when we receive the P2 numbers, we will update the ADA and our funding will increase. Most likely.
Don't see but look at our moment, pretty much remain steady.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Greg,
Thank you.
for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Webb, is it okay if we have Mark Anderson come up and speak to the board real quick? I'd like to introduce Mark Anderson. He's the president of Concerned Black Men of Los Angeles, and I'd just like come up and introduce himself to our board because we're going to be doing some work with our students. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you for having us. For the Concerned Black Men of Los Angeles mentoring organization. Can you hear me? Mentoring organization. We work with underserved youth, and we do most of our work in Los Angeles. We've been around for 20 years, and we've been working in the Antelope Valley since 2017. Working with the Eastside Union School District in Cole Middle School. That's my lovely wife. Andre is a board member, trustee, treasurer. And then Jeremy is a facilitator working in some of the schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District. So what we are attempting to do with your approval is help one of the middle schools of this district, the New Vista Middle School. We worked with and met with Mr. Johnson, and he's identified some youth that could use just a little bit of extra care from us, and that's who we are. We're part of a national organization that's been around since 1975, founded out of Philadelphia by law enforcement. It's just an introduction because ours will come up later on.
Just wanted if anyone had any questions. The program comes up for board approval.
Honestly, we worked out with Alicia, Casey, to inform it. Seen a contract, it's like it's signed, it's got to come. So a lot of the mechanics is, from my understanding, has already been done. It's like that should be approved.
Just invite them up so you could get to know them and kind of what they do.
So we are
Thank you.
Concerned Black Men of LA. We're all volunteers. The paid members are the facilitators and our program managers. The rest of us are volunteers. We serve women, and we have men and women in our organization as volunteers, and we serve girls and boys, ages 11 and 19.
And so right now you are working with Eastside School District?
Yes, have been since 2017, and working with Donna Smith, I think she's Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Great relationship with her, and we work with Cole Middle School. Yeah, we've done that with them for a while, helping the students there, but it's not just the students at Cole Middle School. Help all the folks in the surrounding area. It's a workshop that we do on Saturdays. help girls through a Welcome to Womanhood workshop, boys through a Welcome to Manhood workshop, and Cole Middle School allows us to use 2 of their classes. It's been a wonderful relationship.
Are you working with any other districts here in the Yellow Valley?
No, this is our first time to go outside the East Side Union School District. Mr. Eddie Oliphant, who's in the audience right now, has been asking us to help Lancaster School District. And I said, well, how do we get to the school superintendent? I don't know them. You have to know them. He said, well, I know them. So one thing led to another, and you know how he is. Yes, so we want to help. And we think we can make a difference. No guarantee, because we're only, I think it's like 9 sessions from January to June of 2024 starting. So we don't know what the impact will be, but based on what we've heard from some of the students, from the principal about some of the students, we think we can help out based on the type of work we do. Focus on life skills. That's what we focus on.
Yeah, that's gonna be my question. Just curious, what type of program would you be bringing?
Life skills. We focus on life skills. And so we'll teach them, things that are surrounding self-esteem. We talk a little bit about college prep. We talk about leadership. We talk about decision-making. We talk about how to dress. We talk about how to shake hands. We talk about how to tie a tie, just basic life skills that some of them may not be getting based on, maybe coming up in a one parent household. I'm only speaking on the type of experiences we've had over the last 20 years with the students that we work with. So I don't know what this particular community will look like and what the kids will look like, but yeah, that it'll start with just the life skills, which have been pretty helpful to the parents from what they've told us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
It's gonna be a quick note.
Okay, we'll move on to number 12. This approval of the selection of Llewellyn and Moody to provide architectural service for the Sunnydale Elementary School new preschool transitional kindergarten classroom construction project.
I do. There are a number of items on the agenda this evening, all related to the Sunnydale project. This is the first item. This is assigning Llewellyn and Moody as the architect. And CFW went through a RFP, a request for proposal process, received interest from a number of architectural firms who were interested in doing this work. And it turned out Llewellyn and Moody was the lowest bidder for the work, although for an RFP for services like that, you don't have to necessarily go with the lowest bidder like you would in a normal construction project. It just turned out that they also happen to be the lowest bidder. So this particular item awards the design of the Sunnydale project to Llewellyn and Moody. And the subsequent items you see on the agenda tonight are all related to the same project and the work that's associated with it. So if you have individual questions on any, I'm happy to answer those this evening.
Item 12.
Through 12A through 12F.
Information. Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
0. Special design team. Future. Under
What it did is it took the other firms that didn't get assigned and makes them eligible for us to choose one of them in the future for up to 5 years.
Good. Slim? Mann. Favor? Item C, approval of agreement for consulting service. Dale Nelson.
So moved.
This is a local.
No, this is, well, actually, I'm not quite sure where J.O. Nelson is. I'm not familiar with the company. This is part of the service that Caldwell Forest Winters offers as the portfolio of services associated with this project. So they reach out to these different services that are part of this project. So this one deals with surveying of the property. And it's a very small contract because it's right on our property, but it is required. DSA is going to require that. And then the next three that you see after that is a company, Universal. They do toxics for the property, which shouldn't be any because it's our property already. They do geotechnical, which is more involved. They do concrete sampling and action and stuff like that. And the last one is we call it the birds, squirrels, and bats. It's all part of CEQA to make sure that no species are being injured or harmed. And again, it's our property, so there's really very little involvement. If this were a brand new school site that we were buying, the involvement of these agencies would be extensive before the state would sign off on the construction of a school. But it's our land. We're just building smack on it. We got to dot the I and cross the T to get DSA to sign off on all these things.
Hold on, in favor? Approval of an agreement for consulting services with Universal Engineering for Department of Toxic Substance. Also, it's under what? name? For zero. Item E, approval of agreement for consulting services with Universal Engineering. A geotechnical engineer. Mr. Olson. And the approval of an agreement for consulting services with Universal Engineering for the California Environmental Quality Act. Mann. By Mr. Olson. Favor? G, approval of the 2023-24 fiscal stabilization plan. By Mr. Tito.
Yes, and Maria alluded to this. One of the requirements of the county of Los Angeles, actually any county in California, is that if you're going to be deficit spending, and we do from year to year because we always have a large end fund balance that carries to the next year, we have to demonstrate a fiscal stabilization plan. In other words, how we're not going to continue to spend more than we're taking in. And so we lay out what some of these expenditures are, and the board just approves that fiscal stabilization plan. It's a non-committal plan. We can change components and elements of it as we see fit during the year, but we have to send something to the county to say, we have a plan of action to address our fiscal issues should things go in a different direction. So you'll likely see this year after year as we continue to deficit spend because we have a large end fund balance that carries to the next year.
Favor? And After the resolution 2023-24, designating certain general fund as limited fund.
Yes, so if you recall, last year and this year was the first time that the state had to enact that 10% threshold for ending fund balances. There were a number of trigger points that this law had been around for a year. We never quite reached all the trigger points, except last year was the first year. One of the things that the law allows, though, is for in the budgeting process for the board to assign dollars specifically to planned expenditures projects. And Maria alluded to some of those. 1 month of payroll, UTK construction, playgrounds. If you assign those dollars, it comes out of then the end fund balance, which reduces your ending fund balance by certain dollar amounts and correspondingly a percentage, because the goal is to get it to below 10%. When you build the budget, you have to show 10% or less. And so we'll have assignments. We do that via these assignments. At any time, the board could unassign these dollars for another purpose. And at this time, the recommendations of Maria were to assign them to different things. But this is a very fluid process. If our fiscal picture changes, the board through action can always unassign those dollars to be expended or to assign them to something else. So it really gives us budget flexibility to be able to allocate those dollars below that 10% threshold to specific needs that we know are going to exist. Once that 10% threshold issue goes away, and I'm predicting it will in 24, 25, because the state's budget picture, the requirement of assignments will also go away.
Questions? To address the board, individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker. That it or any supporting documents to assist the district prior to the start. Personal information such as student, parent, guardian name, phone number, date of birth, email address, and other directory information. Ed code 4906 to be excluded from the price. Recognize Dr. Andy to recognize the individuals wishing testimony to the board concerning specific items. So one item has been seconded, is on the floor for minutes per person, 3 minutes per item. Allowed. Board members may ask questions, but no action may be taken and no discussion take place on an item. Okay. CSEA. That's from the audience.
We have one comment from the audience.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Maria Ishu. I am a parent of a 3rd grade student who attends Jack North Elementary School. I'm here to request the board's assistance and approval for my daughter's 3rd grade class to go on a field trip this school year. When the Jack Northrop PTO started its fundraising program, my daughter was thrilled to hear that the money raised would fund their field trips this year. She expressed her excitement about the fundraiser and how it would give her the chance to go on a field trip. She shared with me, quote, "I've only been in one field trip my entire life, and that was when I went on a virtual museum when COVID closed my school." This inspired our friends and family to support my daughter in her goal to have the educational experience with her classmates. As a result, she raised an impressive $1,354 in online sales alone, which made her the top seller on the leaderboard. After the fundraising event, I approached my daughter's teacher to inquire about when the class would be going on a field trip. However, her response was quite disappointing as she said that she couldn't take her class on a field trip due to the high number of bad behaviors. I was even more concerned when I asked other third grade teachers and heard similar concerns. One teacher said, quote, "I haven't done a field trip in over 10 years, while another said, quote, "This is the worst group of students. No way I'm taking them by myself." They've expressed concern saying, quote, "We could never get enough volunteers or parents to help out." And quote, "We have students with really bad behavior, and because it's policy, that we either take all or we take none." I've offered to volunteer for my daughter's field trip, hoping it would ease the teacher's apprehension. I reassured her that maybe, just maybe this time, parents may feel more inclined to volunteer, as these are the groups of students who were in kindergarten when COVID closures happened. It was heartbreaking to see that my daughter's second grade teacher from last year actually took the initiative to take her class on a field trip 2 months ago, while my daughter knows if her current third grade teacher wouldn't let her go, despite her efforts. This fundraising event led my family, friends, and sadly my daughter under false pretenses, claiming that selling these products for her school would guarantee field trips. I've asked the admins for assistance, and all they can do is tug at their hearts of these teachers. I have not had any responses since October. I'm here today to tug at your hearts in support of these teachers who have been dealing with students with behavioral disturbances, and to approve getting assistance during field trips so that they can add an extra layer of learning for their students who are excellent in class, who are respectful, who are the epitome of what a Jack and Martha student should be. The students who have worked so hard since returning from COVID, the students who excel every day, like my daughter. If you can't approve any assistance, can you take my daughter and her class on a field trip this year?
Are there any comments?
No more.
Thank you for that. I understand about field trips. Very hard. Supposed to do this. Moving on to item 14. And then agenda item. Motion. Charles. Comments. Any of these are the board policy that was read to the second readings at the last meeting. Donations. CSCA. Clothing from Ms. Laura Busan. And the votes from Jeanette Taggart. Oh, well appreciated. Else have any? It does affect school boards. Appreciate that. School board recognition, but for the vote. Favor? Agenda item, business items. I just want to say, that's more happy as ever. Kitchen is finished.
Very near finished. All the tile work has been completed. We're doing some final electrical up in the ceiling. We will have it reopened, turn.
You're all invited to have breakfast.
What will it be?
Something delicious, I know.
And also, which is favor say aye. Agenda items for educational services. A through H. Joy.
Project Joy is similar to like grant that's going great at Eldorado for grades 3 through 5. Work on a week. Working to
Question. I did have one. Restorative practices that. Is that? Some,
professional development for the staff.
Project Joy is going to be during the school week. Is that going to
item. There's,
Oh, okay. So for our billing to Medi-Cal, we have to create this script. By
and then ability zone, that
that'll be for families.
family.
The target is going to be for families.
And
You know what? I'm assuming it's after school.
our case is where it's needed, I believe.
I believe we have the principal of Monte Vista right here.
And this is
In the day and evening.
Question? Human resource. Item. Wilson? Any questions? Oh, okay, okay. See, there was an acronym I didn't even know. And the athletic director will be for all schools. Basketball. Volleyball. Yellow pea. Vote, all in favor? Legislative and policy discussions, as you know, second readings lead up to the approval of the next board meeting. Second reading. That is a CP Williams report, is that correct?
The uniform complaint procedure, so when people have concerns and they want to express those concerns, they go through.
Those will all both be on the next. Okay, coming to comments from the board and
Okay, yeah, great meeting. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. And glad to come close to our winter break. And we've all been working hard. And we're to see Wayne as a new president and as the vice president and Rosemary is the clerk. I want to congratulate Keith as for an excellent job for leading our district the past year, board meetings, and doing a job with that. And also, I'm real pleased with the programs we have and we're implementing at the different school sites. We need to see the concern our program they're bringing to New Vista, so I'm looking forward to that. Glad they're expanding and will be helping our district. Well, also great to see the budget update. That's work with that. Glad to see that we're meeting all our fiscal needs and looking forward to a great new year.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you, everybody, for all the presentations. Maria always does a great job. Excited about the new programs that are coming in for the after school and during school and the kids. Great. So just want to see you for the New Year's as well.
I'd like to thank Mr. Anderson for coming out and I'm looking forward to Black Man of Los Angeles program and what changes it can bring assisting our students at New Vista. And hopefully that program will go well there and we can be and their services as well. Maria, as usual, phenomenal job on our fiscal outlook. Breaking it down, we can completely everything, although Maria doesn't make as far as all the programs and stuff, I had an opportunity to go out to Discovery and they had the Whoville out there last week. If you did get there, the Grinch was awesome. You know, I thought it was a nice twist on normally seen. So the parent volunteered that. The toy drive, again, everybody that was out there and Parkview this Saturday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All the kids that were there and had an opportunity to get on the bus and just really participate and get those toys. You know, I can't say enough. A lot of smiling faces, a lot of services offered to families, and just really spectacular. And again, as usual, you know, our food drive that we do on Fridays, always great. A lot of volunteers I constantly see out there, superintendents, ACES workers, volunteers, SALVA, everybody's always out there, and we're doing it again this Friday. It'll be the last one we have this year. So if you guys at any time, we are out there, generally about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, so 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Once you have all your hands, I am always out there handing out, and we just make such a change and such a difference. Mary, thank you so much. I have been hassling you about those basketball courts at Sunnydale. I appreciate all your work. I did have to. Happy holidays to everybody.
I do want to recognize the school board because it is, January is, the School Board Appreciation Month. For the members of our school board, I proclaim the month of January 2024 as a school board recognition month. In Lancaster, and I urge all of our community members to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of our school board members. These are trying times and these are challenging positions, and they take it on, and working with them to create an educational system that meets the needs of our children here in Lancaster. So thank you for what you do. I will say that as a school district, we strongly encourage educational field trips. We want our students to go beyond Lancaster and see all the wonders out there, and to learn and grow as human beings. And so we have been encouraging field trips all throughout our district. So we'll look into what Ms. Isha was talking about, and we'll get back to the board, and we'll definitely get back to figure out how we can resolve that issue. Absolutely. And I do want to thank Mr. Giles for his year of being president of the board, and I want to welcome Mr. Wynn as our new president. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Other good. Synergy. Aaron. Students back to Lancaster. Things happening. Music at Sierra tomorrow, 9:30 and 5:30. 9:30 and 8:30 and 9:30. That should get you there. Then the next day at El Dorado. And this is Kelly Stock, our first music teacher that we hired in our district. He is fantastic. He brings this to the students, and when you see it and see these students that can start playing drums and xylophones and all of those things that she's just taught them since the beginning of school. So, and then Thursday, we have Mr. Arriaga at Paiute is going to have his concert. We're looking forward to that. To see Cody Lewis at Raposa. That was what he's taught is beginner band just these few months since August. Is great. They could play and keep a tune. Thank you to Alicia for the toy giveaway, for the family event. They're just fantastic. Put a lot of work into it, and it shows. Shows not only to the members who go and attend, to the community, hear about it. Thank you, Dr. Brady, for wanting to get back to the lady about field trips. I don't want to promise or anything, but it sure would be nice. The fact that we will have new group coming to our Jack Northrup, to do this stuff. Pamela and I did Gilman Reed, which isn't the same program. But also stresses the importance of education. Black students being given the same status as everyone else. And not to do. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your. Thank you. Last week before we get out for a whole 3 weeks. Take advantage of anything you can at the school. $7.15. Motion? By Mr. Evans, seconded by Ms. Ellis. That's never got a no vote. All in favor, say aye. 4-0. It's still done. Thank you all for attending. And we'll see you rest of the year, if not at the.
You have a bunch to sign.